Our live coverage of day 3 of the East and California Regionals rolling on here. Hi, everybody. Welcome inside the CrossFit Games Update Show studios. I'm Sean Woodland with Tommy Marquez and Pat Sherwood. Want to get you caught up with what happened at the Pacific Regional last night, and we start on the men's side where we had an epic comeback by one Ben Gerard, who started the day in 12th place, moved all the way up to 5th because he set an event record in Event 7. Con Porter will win the regional by 10 points over Rob Forte. Chad McKay is going back to the games, and then Kevin Manuel in 4th place, the first man from New Zealand to compete at the CrossFit Games. But let's start with Ben Gerard because he was certainly the story last night.
And Sean, this might be one of the most impressive comebacks I've ever seen in our sport, save maybe Chris Spieler in 2012. And you said he started the day back in 12th, but really it starts after day number 1, where after 2 events, the 2 hero workouts, he was in 29th place. He moves up 17 spots after day number 2, and heading to the final event, he was in 10th. He doesn't just go out and win the event, but he goes out and sets an event record at 117.9. That beats Easy Muhammad's event record from last week. And you talk about performing when it matters most. I mean, he was a guy we talked about before that might have a shot to qualify, and he's supremely talented. He overcame a mistake, and really he earned his spot to Carson with that comeback.
And got in because of a tiebreak. Had he not won that final event, he does not go to Carson. We're going to have a lot more on that final event 7, the Pacific Regional for the men, a little bit later. But Chad McKay, let's talk about him for a second. Hashtag big guy solidarity right here.
Right.
He makes it in, and he was able to overcome, like Ben Gerard, a bad day 1.
33 years old, 6'1", 215 pounds of Chad McKay is going to the Reebok CrossFit Games this year. He's been to the games 4 times previously, 3 times as an individual, once on a team. End of day 1 didn't look good, 14th place. End of day 2 moved into 3rd. We knew the strict handstand push-ups were going to make or break him. A lot of guys not even finishing in the time cap. And there's big Chad McKay sprinting, made it well under the time cap, took 11th on that workout, and moved himself by the end of the day from 4th into 3rd. We will see him for his 4th time as an individual out in Carson.
On the women's side of things, it was Cara Webb who pretty much went wire to wire on this thing. She takes it well over the 600-point plateau. 3 rookies going to the games. Alethea Boon, Tia Claire Toomey, and Sammy Wood gets in on the final day. And then Danae Brown, she moves up from 5th to 4th. Kayla Banfield caught up with Cara Webb after she won the Pacific Regional.
Cara, you finished with a bang. How are you feeling?
Man, I am fired up and ready to finish what I started.
Sounds like everyone's behind you too. What does that mean for you for the next 2 months?
Knuckle down, do what I've been doing, train the way I do, listen to my coach, do as I'm told, make sure that I'm looking after myself. Don't ever take your body and your health for granted. That's the #1 priority, is to look after yourself as an athlete. I learned a very, very valuable lesson last year, and I feel like a much better athlete because of it.
Absolutely. How have you found the weekend compared to all the other regionals weekends you've been in?
I was pretty sore, hey, like after day 1, I haven't done something that light and fast in the way of Randy before, and I was pretty damn sore, which was an awesome test for me. I really wanted to test myself out, test my body out, test my mind out, and you know what, as time goes on and you get a little older and you play in this sport more, the time just goes too fast. It really did just go too fast, and I'm loving every minute of it.
Cara Webb wins 4 of the 7 events, but event 6 with those strict deficit handstand push-ups looked like she still might have a little bit of a hole there. Is she still a favorite as she heads to Carson?
She has to still be a favorite just because of how dominant she was given the level of competition, but she's not perfect, right? So moving forward, I would certainly work on those strict handstand push-ups, deficit for sure as well. And then also the event, she only had one that was outside of a top 5 finish, and that was the handstand walk as well, which we knew historically had given her a bit of trouble. So those would be the 2 areas that I focused. But shy of that, I mean, looking like a complete athlete, learned a lot coming back from that injury, looks lean and mean this year, and I was impressed with her training through the open when she said she would hit the open workouts once at the end of her week. So she'd done 5 or 6 grueling days of training. then would do those workouts sore and crush the open. So I think she's ready.
And then the other veteran going back is Danae Brown, and she certainly looked impressive on the third and final day.
Yeah, and really she bounced back from what was kind of a stumble at the end of day number 2. Both of those workouts for her were outside of the top 10, and they were really single modality workouts. So she comes back in day number 3 on the strict handstand push-up workout, which we thought she would do well because she did so well in the strict handstand push-up last year at regionals. She takes second, has a strong top 5 finish, and now she's squarely in the top 5 and going back to Carson for 2 years in a row.
And never really in that much danger. We knew the final event would play well for her. Sadly, she announced this was going to be her last year of competing and wanted to go out on her own terms, and so earning a qualifying spot, she's doing just that.
And now it's time for another edition of Who the Heck is This Person? And that's Alethea Boon. We talked a little bit about her yesterday. She's going to the CrossFit Games for the first time.
Yeah, and such an impressive performance from her this weekend. I mean, she's no stranger to competition. She competed at the Games last year on CrossFit Active's Games team, the team that actually took 6th just behind NorCal. You look at her weekend in total, 6 of the 7 in the top 10 for event finishes, 5 in the top 5. And really what was most impressive is how she started event 6 to start out the final day with the names like Cara Webb and Danae Brown on either side of her. She goes out and wins that event. That's the maturity of a Games veteran, regardless if this is her first time as an individual, and I'm excited to see her at the Games.
One more look at the 5 women who will be representing the Pacific Regional at the CrossFit Games in July in Carson, California. Cara Webb is going back. Alethea Boon, Tia Claire Toomey, and Sammy Wood, all rookies making their first appearance at the StubHub Center, and then Danae Brown going back, and she has said that this is her final year as an individual competitor, so she gets to go out as a Games competitor. Meanwhile, on the team side of things, that competition wrapped up last night as well, and Schwartz's CrossFit Melbourne back-to-back wins in events 6 and 7. They are going. Zach's Pack East Tamaki, they were up in the top 5 all weekend long. They finished second. CrossFit Rocks, CrossFit Athletic, and then CrossFit Active, and Athletic hangs on despite a 25th in event 7, but this was a dominant weekend for Schwartz's CrossFit Melbourne.
And really, Sean, nobody Schwartz is as big as CrossFit Melbourne.
Very
right
nice.
now.
Good Spaceballs
For all the
reference.
talk we give Ute and NorCal about how dominant they've been so far this week and last, really, CrossFit Melbourne, Schwartz's CrossFit Melbourne, has had the most dominant performance that we've seen out of any team to date. 4 event wins, 660 points out of a possible 700. They won their regional in 2012 and 2013. Last year was kind of an off year for them. They missed out on going to the CrossFit Games. And after this performance this weekend, they're putting everyone on notice, including those 3 teams, Mayhem, Ute, and NorCal, that they need to be taken seriously as one of the threats for the podium.
Then you have CrossFit Active. They looked pretty good, but a hiccup in event number 7 that almost cost them, but they are still going to the CrossFit Games.
And that's the important part. But CrossFit Active must have had one of the most restless sleeps as far as this weekend goes. Every single day for them was stressful. So remember, the top 5 teams go. At the end of day 1, they were just outside in 6th place by 5 little points. Came in, battled on day 2, moved into 5th, the final qualifying spot, but only had a 3-point cushion. Woke up on day 3 in a fight for their life, and they held on to spot number 5, and it was tight all the way till the very end. They didn't run away with it. There was 6 points between them and team number 6, so until the final event was over, they had no idea if they were going to go or not, so congratulations.
It was a great final day at the Pacific Regional. The team